Actually, it was. I just know him by Mr. Cooper.
Right,
Yeah,
me too. I forgot.
yeah, he's a memoir writer.
Yes, yes. And, you can talk a little about that, but we were both at this workshop, a free workshop at the library, the public library right here. And it was on a Saturday, and I remember I said, well, I wasn't coming in that day because I like to think of myself as a writer also.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to, see what was going on. And it was free, and it was right here, local. So
Yes.
why not go?
I know.
Right?
Yes.
So that's where we found ourselves, and it was very nice. What did you think of that?
It was very helpful. I went actually thinking it was just for people that is trying to find an agent or what so. But also at that time in my life, I was in the point of writing my memoir, you know, and that's what it was. It was a memoir session.
Right.
And it gave me a lot of input and a lot of insight, and I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to be there. As the youngest person there, and African American at that, it was such an honor for me.
Right. There were only two of us.
Two of us, yes, two of us.
I was probably the oldest person there, you the youngest.
Yes, well.
Yeah. But it was very helpful
Yes,
also to me. One of the other things that got me there was this article that I read, as a matter of fact, on this show. Leonard Pitts' article when he was talking about we should write our own stories.
Yes, ma'am.
And if we don't write them, somebody else
Yes,
will.
ma'am.
Might not be what we want them to be because they might not be true.
Yes,
That's the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then here's this person who's talking about writing, and he was saying, you don't have to be long, drawn out. I'm thinking, well, I want to write a book one day, and it's got to, it's got to be all this big and whatnot. And he was just writing these nice, short, to the point memoirs.
Mm-hmm.
And a whole lot could be said, and a whole lot of people, I think a lot of our people in particular, should be thinking about writing down things that happen to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what he was saying. He said that, it really has to be done.
Yeah.
Anyway, I brought you a copy of that article, and some of the comments that were in Rant and Rave about his article, what he said, and I said, please, give me a break. But anyway, then I wrote an article in response to the Rant and Raves, and they put it in the paper.
Yes,
I wrote you a copy of that too.
Yes, ma'am.
But anyway, that was how we met. And so we've been talking now and then on the phone. It's been very interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
Yes, very nice.
A lot of things has came to me that, I always had, I wondered about, because my family is not a typical family, that I can sit down. When my great-grandparents was here, I was able to do that. I was able to get input on, the things that related to them coming up, in their generation and time. And I got a lot of wisdom and knowledge, from learning from them. And now these days, I'm kind of, searching for knowledge on my own and whatever God gives me, and it's just so much going on right now.
Yeah, and if you seek, if you're seeking knowledge,
yes,
it'll come to you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the law.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
That is the law, and I know that's true.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking, you will find it.
Yeah.
Now, you might not recognize it because it might be different from what you think the truth is.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Because I think we operate to a great extent on what we believe, because we were given this information we have about a lot of very important, critical, crucial things in our lives by people who, you wonder if they believe.
Yeah, right.
So we can't, we really have to be careful at this point in time.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the truth, because a lot of people are seeking the truth, which means it's here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
But it won't be like you think it is.
Yes, ma'am.
It'll be something different, because when the truth comes, the adversaries of the truth also come.
Yeah.
So that's, what happens. So tell me what you're doing, what you've been up to.
Well, I've been real busy. I be working, and besides that, I stay focused on my career. I had an interview in Albany. They opened a new place down there where a lot of poets and writers, if you stand-up comedian or whatnot, you can do all that. So I made reservations to come down there this summer. And this month, particularly at the end of this month, I have a poetry book being released on Amazon digital. All my stuff is digital before, to come out in format, book format. And also I have my children's book coming out this summer, and I have a lot of stuff to do, when the upcoming school year come back in, with readings and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to this summer, to a lot of activity with my career, getting it out there, and also spreading the word to a lot of, young black people that I went to school with, to write. It's so simple, and I guess it's not that simple to everyone because everyone is not given a gift to write. But it's easy whenever you want to jot down things. I brought my journal here, for example. I carry it everywhere I go. Whatever thoughts come to mind, I jot them down because, one day, I want to be able to go back and say, this is my solution. I need to give this solution to someone else and maybe to help them and further them in their career or whatever path they're trying to take in their life. So that's basically what I'm working on right now, and I still do my poetry, my updates, on my Facebook, on my Twitter, on my website, trying to get situated, letting the world, know what I'm destined to be and what type of message I'm trying to give out, which is the same, that's why, I figured that we can get along so well because, we're on the same page at that time because so many things are taking place and taking action in this world and affecting our community. And, I think that, that I need to give that back as a young person. I feel like that's my mission, not just to write novels and write children's books, but also to deliver a message through my poetry, on insight for a brighter future because I look at, the younger, generation that's come along now, and I look at my generation, it was a lot more easier because we still had those ones that had that real, commitment to bringing the young ones up, I would say their grandchildren up, in the truth and allowing them to know that, these are the things that you have to go through in life in order to succeed and make it. And I want to send a dedication out to my grandma, rest in peace, Serena Mae Harmon. She was an inspiration, my mother, strong women, some of the strongest women I ever met in my life. And I think that I would never meet any more stronger women than them because they taught me the ways of survival, And I'm an adult now, so, it's on me now how I live my life and the decisions I choose to make, And I have made some bad ones, but, I have overcome them, and right now I'm living success, and I thank God for that.
Well, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to say.
And then it comes from the heart. I mean every bit of it because, I'm so thankful to how far I came. It's always been a passion to write, but I never let the, the things around me, the people around me, allow me to, put that on hold to neglect it. And right now in my life, I wouldn't do that because I truly believe that if God gives you gifts and you don't use them, He'll give it to someone who will.
Right.
And a lot of people tell me that God got something for me. He wants something, He got something for me to do. And I feel like this is my purpose. This is my meaning. Just besides, writing novels and books.
Well, that's quite an order. That's a big order. When, like I've said here, when great change is surrounding us and, we're going through, people, that's when the artists pop up, to talk about those, what, from their perspective, what it means that we're going through all this change and what is, because people are generally just going through life, everybody, even the artists, everybody, they're all just going through life. But they see it in a different way. Just like I see this earthquake in a different way. Now, I don't know different from what, but I want to talk about it. But let me just say this to regress a little bit because I started off talking about it.
Oh, very interesting. I talk about it. I've been talking about it since it happened. I've been posting things up, sending my prayers out to Japan because it's frightening because that same thing that happened in Japan could have happened right here in the United States and affected us even worse than it did them. And I thank God for, blessing our nation, with such, protection.
At this point in time.
At this point in time, because it's, that's just the beginning of it, because, and there's a message in it. I mean, you have the good Bible right here, and it said that it will be big hurricanes, earthquakes in various places.
Right.
And Japan to me is a very, it's far off. It's another region. It's another, another country, and that's a wake up call for us here in the United States and everywhere else in the world to, to come together, show a little love because this world has fallen apart. We need to get together. We need to show more, compassion in life, acknowledge it, and live it in the right way. These are the type of messages that I want Japan. I can't change Japan. They're their own nation. They live their lives just as well as we live our lives. But we just, we blessed, I would say. just in this community in Moultrie, Georgia, we are blessed because we have a lot of hurricanes, a lot of tornadoes have came through, and you know, for some reason they go over us.
Right. My son was telling me that last night when we were talking about it, and he said he's in Miami, and he was saying that I think that Moultrie, where that's situated, it seems like a place that might be, like you were saying, sort of whatever, that, you know, because they had a earthquake in the Gulf, the Gulf of Mexico, down the lower end, and we were talking about maybe that, because it does that thing with the plates. Maybe that's what made the plate sort of, when the hurricane came through that went through Louisiana, made those rigs unsteady.
Yeah, unstable.
Unstable, right. So it could be that that was a thing that added to that. And that, what happened there, I mean, there's so many rigs in that area. I had no idea there were so many. But
It can cause effect on, because this world is a body. It's basically like a body, and it needs nourishment. It needs treatment just as well as we do. And if it's not taken care of, we, you know, got to suffer the consequences.
That's right.
But if we take care of our world, you know, and provide for our world with love, I would say, because love is, I mean, beyond boundaries. It changes a lot of things that happen, that take place. And I feel like we have more of that a lot of things would change. Because people have the mentality that they don't care. You know, they don't care. And if they do care, they care about self, you know, and it's not really, you know, others around them.
That's true. That's true. That's what we're seeing, but it doesn't mean that they can't do a reversal.
Oh, it's always never
that.
too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late. As long as we have breath in our body and live to see another day, it's never too late. It's always opportunity for us.
Bring that message that you're talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's how I see the earthquake ultimately. But right now, it's like there's so much turmoil there.
Yes, ma'am.
They don't have a clue. I was just mentioning that this one city has 17,000 people, 9,500 are missing. You know, that's unreal. That's just one little place there.
Yes, ma'am.
And they haven't even begun. And it's nighttime there.
Yeah.
And the aftershocks are coming and coming.
Steady coming, because I had a friend that's actually over there, and she was saying that when would these, you know, these shocks stop? You know, they steady going, like it's roaring up, like it's, you know, it's not done.
No. They had a man on this morning, and he was saying, he studies these things, and he said that they were saying, well, when will this area be clear? And he said it could be weeks, months, it could be years, and he was giving an example of some of these things, because of the way the plate shifts and are uneven. So if it did this time, and then something else is shaking it some more, it continues. So that's the aftershock. You know, Haiti isn't all that far from here.
Yes.
And one of the strongest faults in America is Tennessee, around the Mississippi River.
Yes, ma'am. Well.
You know, so, you know, we don't know what all that is going to mean, because things are unsettled here. Anyway, this is the kind of thing that you write about, and you would put them, because a lot of people are thinking that, but aren't going to say anything about it. But if you say something about it, it makes them think again about it. So that's why there are the artists out here talking. It's good. You know. But anyway, that's how we met, and we've been talking.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've been wanting to get him on the show.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me about what you, a little more in depth about what you do. What about children's books?
Children's book, actually, never a day in my life I thought that I would be writing children's book. And this is the moment to explain, you know, my start from, you know, with children's books. You know, I was in a situation that I didn't want to be in, you know, at the time, and it was a time where my life was put on hold, and it allowed me to really search within me, you know, and pull out my passion, you know, my meaning. And children's books has always been something I wanted to do, but I said I would never do it because it's so easy. I feel like, you know, I want to go beyond boundaries. I want to, you know, test my knowledge, you know, with writing. But The Adventures of Angus the Mouse, that's the title of my children's book that's coming out this
Say
year.
that again.
The Adventures of Angus
Angus.
the Mouse. Yes.
Okay.
And I want to make that, I want to take him to many levels. I mean, that's the only children's book I'm really focused on right now because I want to have different additions to it. I do also want to go into comedy and have kind of like, children's, perspective. But The Adventures of Angus the Mouse came to me, and I wrote it within like, I would say within 3 days. Because it's like 30 pages, and they don't have any chapters to it. It's a straight, go through book. But it's very, very, very hilarious. I just had a teacher of mine. She's editing the book for me, and she called me before I came here, and she told me that she's done editing the book and everything. She put her insight on it or whatnot, and I'm supposed to meet up with her tomorrow to get that, and then that's the first step, processing step of my book going into submission and getting ready for this summer. But on top of that, it's not just the ordinary children's book. You have a lot of children's book that, just hilarious. It's just funny for, give the kids a laugh. But they also have a valuable message. Angus go through things, relating to his mother, to his brothers and sisters. By just being the youngest, the youngest mouse, out of the pack that survived, he have a hard time fitting in with his brothers and sisters because they're a lot older than him. And we have that problem sometimes, coming up as children where our brothers and sisters don't want to play with us because, they figure that we're too young and we doing big boy, big girl things that, you might get hurt. And then sometimes girls like to play with girls or like to play with boys, especially little boys at that. So Angus, he has a problem, with that situation, and the first thing he do, he runs to mama crying. And like any parent, she consoles her child and asks, what's the matter? And he explains to her that his brothers and sisters don't want to play with him. And the detail I just gave you, that's what she, later explained to him. But she knew in order to cheer little Angus up was to take him into town with her, to go shopping because he loved to run off and, and look at all the new exciting things that the humans start off in the woods, driving by and whatnot. And he ends up in a situation where he get lost. But it kind of gives him what he wants because it gives him the chance to do more adventure just sitting around the house or going into town. But Angus go through a lot of things, and he really, find out in the end that family matters most. It was times when he wanted to give it, like, well, I don't want to go home because my mom, my brothers and sisters don't want to play with me. I feel unwanted at home. And that's kind of how Angus feels now in the next edition that I'm writing, but that's sometime later on, next year that I will be releasing that copy. But, that's one of my main focus right now is get my children's book out there and deliver that message to the young generation. That's a way for me to communicate with them. I know that, the adults will hear my words, before the kids will. But, that's my opportunity and my advantage of, giving a message to them to put more love in any situation. It's on the first grade level all up until like, I would say, until 8-year-old, 1 to 8, that, you can read it to your children or own up. Own up is,
I didn't catch up, but I was just thinking about grade levels. They say K through, like, I work in a library, K through 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that those...
Yeah, they go all the way down to kindergarten.
Right. Well, that is the age, that's how they break the books up. Mm-hmm. So K through 2, 8 years old, mm-hmm. 7, 8 years old.
Yeah, 7, 8 years old. You're right.
Up
exactly.
There. Yeah, and then you have 3 through mm-hmm. 5th,
Yes, Mom.
So that's great.
Yeah.
That would be how they would do it. Mm-hmm. In terms of which reading levels.
Yes, Mom.
So that you got all that instinctively.
Yes, Mom.
Correct.
Yes.
So that is great.
Yeah, and I'm so excited about it. Yeah. I'm so excited, and I have a lot of opportunities here in Moultrie, Georgia that I didn't get exactly when I was first, in the beginning of trying to get my career started. I felt like I was, neglecting my opportunity. But I figured that, it'd take a little bit more harder work, a little bit more passage, in order for me to achieve them things. And I just can't wait. I feel like this summer is, my big year for me, I just want the opportunity to hold my book, that I wrote in my hand, and be able to say that, I completed something, I did something with my life, and hopefully it be, a message to someone right here in Moultrie, Georgia. This is my community. This is where I grew up at. I want to reach out to them first before I go any farther. And I have fans, I have readers from like all over the world. Japan, where this matter, this serious matter had taken place, and it gives me the opportunity to communicate with some of the friends I have there, and also, to have them, look into the United States and be able to see, you know, a small town country boy, you know, from Moultrie, Georgia, a place that's not very known to the world,
Right.
you know, giving them that opportunity to see and hear what I have to say.
That's right.
And that made me feel good inside.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you know, as this matter going on, you know, it would, you know, proceed into something, you know, surreal, and hopefully it takes a lot of acknowledgement, you know, to be able to place yourself in a situation like mine and like yours, because, you know, you know, here at this news station, it gives you the opportunity, you know, to be able to put your word out there, your input, and not just anything, but something that's meaningful, you know, to the world, to Moultrie, Georgia, to whoever, you know, station is available. And sometimes you have to be careful in that category. And I have learned that too, you know, writing my books, you know, writing my novels. That's one big thing that my next step is. And I want that to be, you know, a prime example, you know, to relate to someone like that going through that situation that would be helpful. And, you know, I think what we do is wonderful. Someone told me that, you know, to be a writer, that's the greatest gift of all. Because, you know, the prophets that wrote, you know, these stories, you know, maybe one day, if this world live on down the line and we might not be here, our missions will be left behind.
Right.
And it could really change the world.
It will.
It will. It will change the world, because I believe in what, you know, I write. Like, I do newsletters. I have newsletters posted up everywhere. And one of my main topics, one of my main enforcements was America. I have to start with America. I live here in America. I live in this community. I know what goes on around here. And we need help more than any other country, whether other countries know it or not. It's a lot of countries that's suffering, you know, with food, but we got the same thing going on here in the United States that need to be taken care of.
This is true. That is really true. And, you know, like you're saying, people don't think that it's the greatest and it's the biggest and it's the strongest and it's the best. It also has a lot of weaknesses.
Yes, ma'am.
That have to be addressed. And will be addressed.
Yes, ma'am.
If we have to write our own story.
Yes, ma'am.
And they don't have to be the biggest, longest. They can be true. They can
downright to the point.
That's right. That's right. And I think this should be when I talk about these scrolls, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that, because she came. You see how she came?
Yes, ma'am.
That means stop talking.
Okay.
To have a break.
Okay.
So I hope you'll be there when we come back.
Yes.
This is the song that I like. You know, about to go back on the air.
Okay.
Are you ready? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're back, and we were talking about the journal. I think that's what we were talking about, the scrolls that I call, they call now the Bible. The scrolls were written by a people, and it was about their concept of their past, how everything began. Every people has, they keep a journal about how they think the world started, how humanity started, and all that. That's just something that we don't remember, because of this thing we went through in the last couple hundred years in this country.
Yes, Mom.
But these scrolls, when we look at them, called the Bible, the people who wrote them, it's important for them to understand them because it's their history and the time of the writers, their present, and the time the writers wrote, they put a third of what there was into the future. So we're now in the future time.
Which is the last days.
Yes. And we need to understand what that means. The last days, is it the end of the world, or is it end of an age, end of what? End of negativity, and now we go into a more positive thing. That's what I think. I think we're moving into
a better world.
Yes.
The whole world will change.
Yeah.
I mean, and these things that happen into the world right now might be the beginning of that change.
Changes, yeah. And so when did this change begin? And this book will tell you with the great earthquake. The great earthquake.
Right.
And then the day turning into night, and the moon taking on the appearance of blood, and then the stars falling from heaven, and then the whole world being notified of the coming redeemers and all of that. Well, I think all those things have happened. That's what I think. That's the kind of thing I talk about on this show.
Yes, Mom.
And we missed something very important. We missed those redeemers.
Something that Jesus Christ told us to be aware of and to look out for, to be on watch.
Right. Let's see, to be on watch. Like, I grew up with that, people saying, not on my watch. It's been happening on my watch. Well, we don't hear that too much anymore. People have, kind of forgotten that. But this is my watch. I remember my grandparents. I remember my parents talking about on their watch. Now it was their watch. Now all of them are gone. So do I have a watch? Yes.
Yes. You have your watch.
Right. This is my watch. And so I want to remember what they told me. What are we watching for? What is that? What did that mean when they were saying that? They knew there would be evidence of the change, and so they were watching for it. Where did they get the information to know what to watch for? And they got it from these pages here, because it pertained to them. And so it's not just, it's just anything, but there's a move on to discredit these scrolls now.
Yes.
I mean, a deep, serious move. There's always been something, but now there really is. Okay, maybe some of it is made, when you study the history out of Europe, when you study it, then you see that there were a lot of changes made, whether we want to deal with that or not. But they didn't know what to take out and leave in. So some of the stuff was left in enough for people to deal with what is this saying. I mean, is it time for it to go or what? But there are people who are trying to totally change all organized religion, period. So, so what are they going to replace it with? And should they be replaced? I mean, if they've done such a job with what's out there, why trust that group to determine what the next step is? I think that needs to be changed.
Yes.
The people who make us think that they have all the information, all the knowledge, they know what everything is about.
Okay.
See, I don't think they know. But, they know something.
Yeah.
And what direction would they take people in? Maybe they are aware where we are and have blocked those people who have come to bring us the truth in this day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they've done that, so why would you want to leave something that important in their hands?
Yeah.
You know, so that's when, you know, people have to write.
Yeah. Yep.
And
You're
talk
right.
about it, you know.
You're
So
so
I think
right.
this is a great thing. Okay, that's the children's books. What about the novel? What kind of stuff do you? I mean, don't give all your
Details, yeah.
no
Yeah.
way.
But the next novel, which was the first novel that took me 5.5 months to complete. It has over 30 some thousand words, and it's titled Desperate for Stardom. It's actually available now on Amazon.com, and it can be purchased for a low price, for like $4.99. And it comes out. That's one of the next steps, is to release it. You know, it's already been released digital, and then, you know, my next step is to release it in book format and everywhere around the world. And that book right there was an inspiration. A good friend of mine, which, you know, we call him Reb. I was sitting down and I was like, you know, wrote several books, you know, but I always get writer block, or I have some other, you know, issue that I'm occupied with. You know, I'm young. I was a teenager, you know, real young. And this gave me the advantage, you know, like I said, I was placed in a situation where I have nothing but time on my hands, you know, and it gave me the insight to open up, to find my passion, to really do what I love to do. And that inspiration came from him and said, you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to write a book, go ahead and write it. You have the talent. You know, I write poetry. I'm a poet also. So, you know, he read a lot of my poetry, a lot of my songs. And he was like, I feel like you can write, because you can tell a good story in your poetry and in your music. And I think that you would tell great stories, you know, in your writing, you know, literature-wise. So I went from there and I wrote that book. And like I said, it took me 5.5 months. 5.5 months to write it. And after that, it became a piece of cake. I had books after books, and I'm up to like 4 novels and 1 children's book. And I have like many other stories that I have begun. There was like thoughts that came to my head. I said, I'm not going to let this thought pass me by, so I write it down. I start a story, you know, and I still got them to go back to. And I can always go back and pick up where I left off at and continue the story. You know, it's something that it's the imagination. And ever since I was a kid, my imagination always ran wild. You know, I always was fascinated by different things. And I grew up most of the time around my grandmother, Rena Mae Harmon, the one I dedicated, you know, my career to in the beginning, you know, because she has been a great inspiration. And the reason I give her that props so much, not to let my mom down, because I love my mom, you know, she's strong, like I said, she's a strong woman, and I give her props for raising me. But my grandma allowed me to be around them whenever they're having good conversations, because, you know, a lot of grown-ups don't allow kids to be around you, but they would always talk about things that was going on in the world, things that took place when they was younger, and things that took place in their parents' life. And the things, you know, I based, you know, that, and I learned from that, and I was like, it's so much. That's why I always had the mentality that us generation, our parents, my mother, you know, and my generation lived off my great-grandparents' prayers from way back when slavery, I mean, it was like the prayer rate was like up so high. You know, that's every day. That's all they did was pray for God to lead them out of that situation.
That's great to hear that.
And it has went away.
Yes,
now we on our clock, and it's up to us of this generation to provide for the next generation if God allow the next generation to come about. But I feel like these changes are coming because so many people are lacking the knowledge and the wisdom that is given to us at free will, you know. And I feel like the world could be a better place if people acknowledge and accept that knowledge and wisdom. And I put a lot of that in my work.
I read.
I have poetry everywhere. I actually do, like...
Did you brought some here?
Yes, I actually have some.
Okay,
Actually, I do have some poetry that I have wrote, you know, and it's basically everything. Like this is my memoir. This is my personal memoir, and it's on things that's taking place in the world. I don't give direct details. I don't try to pinpoint nobody's life. I start with my life first. I feel like my struggle is more important to me right now because that's the way that I can't tell you not to do something or explain to you what I went through or what I'm supposed to went through unless I've been through it. You cannot tell a story unless you've been down that road.
To know, you have to be a part of that which you know, otherwise you're guessing.
Yeah, you're guessing. You just you falsely, give me information. And I don't believe in that. And everything that I write about is true. It is dedicated. It's from the heart. I pour out I have cried sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a man, I'm a man, but I have emotions. And I'm glad I do have the emotions because it allowed me to open up my mind, my insight, and my heart to what's going on and what's taking place in this world right now. What's taking place all around us, in my neighborhood, in my household, each minute, each moment of the day, whatever I go through, whether it's exciting. I mean, all my achievements that I have made so far, I write them down. I record them. I have like a timeline of everything that's going on and my purpose and what, I need to do in order to not just help myself, prosper, but to help others also by giving them valuable messages, insights. I put a lot of, motivational quotes, personally, of mine, no one else's, of mine, of how, to get through the day, or if you're having a certain situation. A lot of people reply they like, Twitter is one of my, main resources of where a lot of my buyers come from. They love what I write. They tell me they love what I write. And I have had people, come to me and say, I'm so glad you told me that because it has changed my life as of this moment and it will stick with me forever. And that made me feel good inside.
Yeah.
It made me feel real good, and I feel like what I'm doing right now in my life is meant for me. It's meant for me to do that, to change another person's life. And you never know what a person's going through. And your words, your speech, your book could change a person's life in an instant minute, So I always allow myself, to pour out my heart and to give them something I actually been through. That's what I let my readers know from the jump, that I'm not perfect. I have been down a road where I felt like, I would never have the opportunity to be where I'm at now. But I allowed myself to have that knowledge and that wisdom and that understanding that's freely given to us now. Free. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. Given to us, given to someone else, changing lives.
That's something that I point out. I hope that's what I'm doing. What it'll take to change our situation doesn't cost anything. You have to change your mind.
Exactly. It starts with self first.
That's right.
It always starts with self first.
The way you think. We have to change the way we think. We've been given a bill of goods. We've been given a lot of information that is incorrect.
Incorrect.
That's right. It's not true. And we should be seekers of truth.
The truth.
Right. And that will get us out of this trick we're in. And that's right.
Yep, misleading. I feel like the generation now, younger kids, they are so intelligent, they're so smart, and they pay attention to a lot of things their parents do. And that was one of my main goals when I wrote my first newsletter, was Wake Up American Parents. Wake Up America, American Parents. That's the title of it. And I basically go into details. I don't know how the parents is. It might be the similar situation in Europe or, or Africa or either Japan, and a lot of my readers come from them different countries, from all over the world. And I want them to acknowledge the things that are going on here in the United States. Might be going on the same, going the same in their household. Maybe, I'm that parent and I can say, well, he's right. We do need to take that step in our life, step up to our responsibilities, not just the African American men or the men, here in the United States, but the parents, the mothers too.
Of course, the mothers.
Oh, the mothers too, because we have a lot of single parents, and a lot of them are mothers.
Right.
And it starts there. I mean, be a prime example to your kids, because I acknowledge that. I see that when I'm around my cousins or other